We still have some cleanup to do, and I'm mainly talking about these expect calls. The fact that our endpoints can panic if something goes wrong. For example, with a database, if a query fails, our application panics, and basically we do not return anything useful to our consumers, and yeah, that's not very ideal. Let's get rid of the expect calls, and instead of that, let's do some proper error handling. And in case something goes wrong, we would like to return some kind of an HTTP status code that is different than 200. In the HTTP world, when you return 200 means all good, everything was successful. Anything else is an exception, and then the consumer knows that, okay, I need to handle the error. There was some kind of an error and I need to handle it. Right now, our application always gives 200, which is not nice. So if there is something wrong, besides of not panicking like we do now, we should also return some kind of a relevant HTTP status code, which means we need to change our signature of the endpoints to basically return a result, not always a value, a result, but this result, of course, in case of success, we're gonna have a JSON value with whatever the endpoint usually contains the response. But in case of an error, we're gonna have a custom status code, and this custom status code will also contain some kind of JSON message. So this custom error code will be accompanied again by JSON. So whatever happens, we always return JSON, but in case of failure, we will also have a custom status code. Depending on the failure, of course, the status code will be different. For this case here, we want to return 500 probably, because if a query, failed, it means that we have some kind of internal server error, some kind of system level error that usually means 500. And the way to do so, now we can get rid of this temporary variable, and remember, find multiple already returns a result, right? So a query result, we need to translate this query result to either a JSON value. In case of success, we return the Rastasian as a JSON value. Otherwise, in case of an error, we return a 500. And to do this, we just map the return of my find multiple. We will map it. If it is successful, we will just have a Rastasian here, as an argument, and we can just JSON the Rastasian, and this will do exactly what we were doing before. And then in the case of error, we will do map error, and now we have an error here, actually, a diesel error, and what we want to do is we want to transform this error to JSON, but also we want to wrap this to the custom status. So we will return custom. The status is going to be internal server error. Okay, the editor cannot find it. Let's try with status first. Status from Rocket HTTP, and then here we have internal server error. There we go. So this is gonna be our status 500, and then the message will be JSON of the error to string. Means that we're gonna get the diesel error, whatever it is, and we're gonna make it JSON and return it to our response. Sometimes this is not smart, because usually these kinds of error also include some system info that we don't want to expose to the public. But yeah, for now it's fine. Otherwise you can just have any other custom message here along with some logging. But yeah, for now this is great. It's a lot better than before. We don't panic anymore, and we have proper status code, which is many steps better than before. We can do a similar approach in other endpoints as well. You can see now that this is a lot nicer now. It reads better. We no longer have this temporary variable. No longer we panic. It also looks better. So let's also do the same for the rest of the endpoints. At least for view Rastasian, we will have the same return. And then we can also copy paste the logic. Basically, we get rid of the temporary variable here, and also the expect and JSON statements. We paste the logic from up here. Yep, same handling, and same handling for the create Rastasian endpoint as well. Nothing different. Same signature. Yeah, same for update Rastasian endpoint. Of course, now that we are copy pasting the same thing over and over, we could make this somehow even prettier, but yeah, I think this is good enough. And then we have the delete endpoint, which is going to be slightly different, because in case of success we not return any JSON. In case of an error though, we should again return custom, and then I would say we should still return JSON, because we want the same consistent behavior with up here. We want to give an indication of the error to our clients, even for the delete endpoint. Okay, so yeah, we can copy paste again, removing the expect call. Then we return status no content in map. Of course, Rastasian variable here is not used. Then yeah, the mapper will be the same. We are returning internal server error. Yeah, here we could add some more error handling, because what happens if we try to delete a Rastasian that does not exist? Then maybe our map error will catch it, but probably it is wiser to do it before and return a different status code altogether, because internal server error means that something went bad with the database. We do not have a connection, or our database died in the meantime, it's not working. Whereas for Rastasians that are not there, it is a client error, and yeah, in this case we should return status of not found and not internal server error. But yeah, I will leave this up to you, this kind of check, and probably it should also happen in the update Rastassian endpoint. If you try to update the Rastassian that doesn't exist, you should receive a 404 and not found instead of internal server error. But yeah, so far we are good. Let's see. Compiler is not complaining. Let's try to break our application now and see how it is handling that. Let's cargo run. And yeah, a way to try and break the application is probably by moving the SQLite database to a different file during runtime. Let's see what happens in that case. For now, let's quickly try to ping our Rastassian endpoint. All good. Let's move our database from SQLite. Let's rename it to SQLite underscore. So Rocket is not able to find it, and let's see what happens now. Now it still works because I suppose it loaded into memory. So let's stop the application and let's start it again. It recreated the database, but the database doesn't contain the Rastassians table because we didn't run the migrations for the new database, right? So let's see what happens now. Okay, we got this error string, no such table Rastassians. Nice, that's great. And let's see what is the status code, the HTTP status code. Yeah, it is 500 internal server error, it's not 200. That's great. And let's also take a look at Rocket's error logs. Okay, nothing here. Makes sense. We are not logging anything, and for Rocket this endpoint worked correctly, so nothing in here. Yep, I will restore the database. Just to also demonstrate you that the error message that we receive, not the error message, but in case everything goes well, right, like now, yeah, it works. We have the HTTP status code of 200. Yeah, 200, okay. So, yeah, if an endpoint returns 200, it means that everything went well. If it is anything else, means an error. And yeah, the consumer should take care of the error, do some error handling. In our endpoints, we always have 500 now. We can enrich error handling with more status code and more better, more descriptive messages. Also, we can fix cases that we haven't thought about right now. But yeah, this is good enough to show you how it is done, and then you can feel free and further improve the error handling on your own.